Hey guys, I just recently competed in my first NPC bikini bodybuilding competition, and I want to share with you what I learned. Today I'm going to give you a 3-step guide on how to choose your bodybuilding division for your first competition. The first step is to do your own research. Step 2 is to consult experts in the field. And 3 is to do a reality check and look at yourself. So doing your own research. At first, I was such a newbie and I knew nothing about the sport, so I wasn't even sure which keyword to search for. So I'll give you an overview of what the divisions are and you can do the research on your own. So what I found is that, first of all, there are a couple of different types of organizations. So I decided first off that I wanted to compete in an NPC brand bodybuilding competition because that will potentially yield to getting competing on a national level. And then also if you win a national competition, then there are competitions where they give out pro cards, and IFBB Pro League is supposed to be the most prestigious. So I wanted to compete in a brand that will go all the way if I really wanted to continue. There are many different divisions in bodybuilding. I remember when I first mentioned it to my friends, they're like, oh my God, are you gonna take steroids? Are you gonna become all veiny? Are you gonna get all like looking crazy? And my answer is, it's very difficult to achieve that even if you wanted to. And there are many different divisions and there are different levels of muscular density and leanness that you have to achieve for each division. And it's different for every single one of them. The one that I decided to compete in was bikini. What I suggest you do is that go Google like NPC bodybuilding 2022 winner female of each of these divisions. Look at like wellness 2022 winner. Figure 2022 winner, and you will get a good look at like visually what they look like. And you know, there are ballpark numbers for what type of like body fat percentage you need to be, but you can see from the look like what's more defined, what is the ratio that they're going for, what is the shape, like are there striations like necessary, what type of muscle separation is necessary for each division. And you'll see that each one is slightly different. Bikini, I would say, is like the most accessible one, even though if you look at like Olympia winners and competitors, they're like ripped as shit. And it would probably still take many years to reach that level of muscular, physique. But I would say that you do need muscle for bikini, but it's the one that is the most approachable for somebody who's doing it for the first time. If you wanted to do classic bodybuilding, for example, that's not something a normal person like me can achieve in a year. It would probably take multiple years to reach that level. When you're doing your research, look at the mandatory poses that are required. All of the different divisions have different requirements for the suit cut, if you're wearing heels or not, what your routine should look like, how long your routine should be, and how many mandatory poses there are. Okay, so here's a summary of bikini. The look that you're going for is going to be closest to a fitness model. And these are the things you have to consider. You have to consider your suit cut, your suit color. You have to get a tan. You have to think about your hair. You have to think about your jewelry. It's one of the most subjective divisions, and you're not being judged only on your physique, but also your stage presence. So there are mandatory poses, and typically there's only 2, front and back, but the way you decide to like walk and go from front to back and back to front is all up to you, and that's part of your routine, right? In terms of muscle density, it's going to be different for like whatever level that you're competing at, but just take a look at the pros, and that's like the North Star. And depending on how small or big of a show that you're competing in, you're gonna have to kind of like match up to that like 50% or 75%, or depending on whatever level that you decide to compete in. For figure and wellness, there are more strict quarter turns, and also you need slightly more muscular density in these divisions. And the shape is going to be a little bit different from what I can see. It looks like figure is very upper body heavy, and wellness, you need like separation in all of your lower body muscles. For bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding, you don't need to wear heels, and that's the one that's closest to what everybody imagines is like what Arnold does, right? And at that level, you need to be way more muscular, way more lean, and there's a whole personal routine involved. Step number 2, consult experts. So first of all, you should get a competition coach, but if you are still shopping for a competition coach, what I suggest you do is take a picture of yourself, front, side, and back, and most of the legitimate competition coach brands and businesses, they will do a free consultation. During that consultation, I suggest you send them a photo of yourself and you ask them, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm starting. Like, what do you think is a realistic division that I can compete in? And I'm not saying that like some divisions are possible or impossible for certain types of people, but there's going to be a different timeline attached to each one. For example, if I wanted to do classic bodybuilding, I would probably have to budget like 3 to 5 years to reach that level of physique. So take pictures of yourself and see what all these different competition prep packages or coaches. There are a lot out there. There's like Team Elite Physique, there's Pro Physique, there's Atlas. Like if you do a little bit of research, all these like full package competition prep services are there. And when they do the consultation, just show them a picture of you so they know where you're starting and they know what they're working with naturally. See, what an expert can do for you is that if you naturally have really great shoulders and upper body, for example, from other sports that you've been playing and you don't need to add a lot of muscle, for example, like figure could be a natural fit for you. Or if you already have like really muscular legs, then wellness could be an option for you. If you don't have a lot of anything to begin with, well, you know, they'll give you their advice on it. But an expert who's used to training competitors and getting judges' feedback and also applying it is going to be able to tell you just by looking at your body, like what might be most genetically optimal for you to compete in for your first competition without like trying to kill yourself or taking PEDs. The last step is to do a reality check and just look at yourself and your lifestyle, right? And the timeline that you want to allot to this. So let's say you want to invest 6 months, then one thing might be possible for you. But if you wanted to invest 2 years, then you might have other divisions that are possible for you. And in terms of the time, like that's also going to come with cost because you're going to hire potentially a prep coach for even your off season to develop that physique before you go into prep and cutting. And you know, another part about looking at yourself is just think about your personality. If you're not the type of person that can walk around in heels and be in full glam in a thong bikini and smile and do all these pretty poses, like bikini might not be for you. Like if you just don't want to wear heels altogether, then you might want to consider doing a different division. And I think this is why looking at the posing requirements are really important. You want to look at people's routines. I suggest like going on YouTube and just watching videos of shows to understand what the routine is, like what's required of you on stage. For example, bikini, you get like 15 seconds on stage. What you do is you go up, you stand up in a line, you walk up to the front, you do 2 mandatory poses, you go from front to back and then back to the front, and then you walk off, and they might make you do that multiple times. But if you're in like classic bodybuilding, for example, then you might have to do a freestyle routine of your own, and there's so many more mandatory poses that you have to do, for example. All right, so that's it, guys. Those are my 3 tips for selecting a bodybuilding division for your first competition. First tip is do your own research and look at all of the different divisions and so that you know exactly what you're picking from. And the second thing is to consult experts. You have, well, I had no idea what each division was being judged on, for example, and where I had the best chances. And I already had a competition coach at the time before I was choosing a division, but if I were doing it again, I would just have my pictures and then kind of show it to all these different coaches during the free consultation to see what their thoughts are on what division I could do best in as a natural first-time competitor. And the third part is to do a reality check on like, where's your physique now? How much time and money can you invest in it? And what is your lifestyle and what is your personality like? So you can actually assess if it's a good fit for you, because each division comes with, a special type of styling and posing and routine requirements, and you don't want to be uncomfortable doing that. I mean, you've done all this hard work. You're going to be preparing for months, if not over a year, to build this physique. And at the end of the day, when you get to the stage, you don't want to be super uncomfortable because you just don't like wearing heels or you don't want to do those specific poses. So picking something that's really good for you, that's a good fit for your personality is pretty important. I hope those tips were helpful, and if you have any more questions about competing in your first bodybuilding competition, please let me know in the comments, and give me some ideas of what other content I should make around this topic. Thanks, bye.